You're watching 48 Fastcast.
Good afternoon on a very busy News Friday. I'm Margot Gray with your 48 Fastcast. This is our digital version of your top headlines in a short newscast. So let's start in Limestone County for a really bizarre and disturbing story where a mother is now facing capital murder charges following the beating death of her own infant. Deputies were called to a home early this morning on a state drive in Athens after receiving a medical call for an infant boy early Friday morning. So when they arrived, they found the infant unresponsive and he appeared to be severely beaten. The infant was rushed to the hospital where he later died from his injuries. An investigation showed the mother, Morgan Thornton, who you see on your screen right here, was responsible for the death. Investigators say Thornton appeared to be heavily intoxicated at the time of her arrest. She's now inside the Limestone County Courthouse, actually. We have our Noah Cowell on standby. He just showed up for her hearing. This is her bond hearing, and we're waiting for new details, but tune in today at 4. We'll have those details live for you in a report. Also today, we are learning more details on a suspect involved in the case of a missing Huntsville realtor. Her bond was just denied in court. We sat in on that Anaya's Law hearing for Kiera Clark, who you see here. So she's one of the suspects accused of kidnapping Ronald Dumas Jr. last December. We learned Clark was directing another suspect. This is testimony from investigators inside that bond hearing today that she was texting Quintarius White through cell phone messages to take advantage of Dumas. This is what came out in court today. 3 other suspects are still on the run while White currently remains in custody over in Tennessee. WAFF 48's Callie Neese will have much more information from what the district attorney has to say on this case. But really, this is the first initial movement we've seen since his disappearance in December. Now that we have one suspect, she was extradited to Huntsville earlier this week, and now we have some details as to what transpired, that this was connected to a robbery. All right. A DHR worker is now behind bars after leaving a toddler in a hot car, resulting in his death. KJ, as he's known, was responsible for, or I should say, Kayla Stanford was responsible for taking 3-year-old KJ to daycare on July 22nd. Sadly, the young boy never made it. He died in a hot car after being left there for 5 hours. Stanford is now charged with leaving that child in the car. She is a DHR worker. The victim's funeral will be held tomorrow in Bessemer.
Oh, that front finally moving through. One of 2 fronts that's going to come through. The next one coming in Sunday into Monday. That's going to have a bigger impact, at least temperature-wise. Let's go to the radar. A couple of showers out there, mainly south of us. I say a couple. We've got a lot of thunderstorm activity from Russellville, just northwest of Moulton, and Coleman getting hit hard again, and also on the west side of Smith Lake. That's going to be probably it. As we go to the evening hours, a lot of this is going to fade away and track farther to the south. Here's your grilling forecast. Just a few isolated thunderstorms by 6 o'clock this evening. Most of this activity will continue to track southeast and out of the area. Over the next 3 days, we still have storm chances. Tomorrow, very similar to today. I think the storms will just be in different areas. We're going to go through that forecast hour by hour. Coming up Sunday, I think the morning hours will be the wettest.
All right, hang tight for a second because we'll tell you more about the 4 NASA astronauts taking off to the International Space Station from Kennedy Space Center after this quick break. So 4 NASA astronauts are on their way to the International Space Station following today's SpaceX rocket launch. The U.S., Japanese, Russian crew took off from Kennedy Space Center. The astronauts will spend at least 6 months on the ISS while conducting their research. Crew 11 will replace NASA's astronauts who set off in March.
Now, your first alert weather with Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis.
All scattered thunderstorms, most of which are along and south of the Tennessee River, and we got a few up here just near Scottsboro, but a bigger thunderstorm about 45 minutes ago just on the east side of Scottsboro. A lot of lightning just like yesterday and heavy rainfall, and this is all pushing south of Coleman now, and I think a lot of this will continue. If you live north of where these storms are, you're probably not going to see much of anything for the rest of the day. It's still hot. It's 90 degrees in Huntsville, feels like 95. That frontal boundary just off to the north, slowly passing in tonight. Look at the numbers to the north, though. Very pleasant up here across much of Nebraska and Iowa. Temperatures in the 70s. We will probably see some upper 70s as we get into Monday, maybe even Sunday, because we're going to start the day with rain on Sunday. Here's your Saturday. Very similar to today. Thunderstorms fire up after the lunch hour and fade away at 7 o'clock. Here's 11:30 tomorrow morning. Notice a round of thunderstorms here along this frontal boundary that's going to be coming in from Georgia. It's actually a backdoor cold front, we'll call it. 79 in Atlanta at 4 o'clock, 86 in Huntsville. So another warm day ahead of showers and storms. And most of the storms tomorrow could actually be from Huntsville to the south to Smith Lake and areas farther to the south. But by 10 o'clock tomorrow night, there's still some showers over here right along the state line. And don't be surprised if we wake up with rain Sunday morning in these same areas. May rain all night into the morning hours there. And notice the boundary slowly pushes to the west during the day. And that's going to lead the temperatures in the upper 70s, low 80s in northeast Alabama, the mid 80s farther out to the west. And the temperatures as we go on into Monday, notice this cooler wedge of air, and I stress cooler because it's not going to be a cold front, so to speak, at least a colder air mass, but it does kind of wedge in here. By 1 o'clock Tuesday, we continue to see the cooler numbers in the far eastern part of the state, where it's about 10 to 15 degrees warmer as you go from Huntsville out towards Florence. So here's your updated 10-day forecast. The 80s will be a nice break. I'm not complaining about that at all. Even the 60s for morning lows will be nice, but then we get right back into the heat as we head into next weekend.
All right, that's a wrap for your 48 Fastcast. AJ Weiss will be online with us in just about 30 minutes with Before the 4. And you can also join us for our 4 o'clock newscast on TV. We'll have you covered at 4, 5, 6, and 10 tonight. I hope you have a great Friday afternoon.